Miss Hurst from Hamilton County Schools. We are going to continue with our unit today by reading it's like a chapter from the text, An American Childhood. So what I'm going to do is, if I can, I'm going to share my screen with you. This is what the text looks like. I hit the top part. So what we're going to do is I want to start by asking you this question, because the text that we're reading today has a lot of really technical vocabulary. It's about a child who's really interested in science. And so there's lots of scientific words in this text. So I want to know, how do you deal with technical vocabulary in a nonfiction text? And I guess this could be in a fiction text as well. How do you deal with texts or with the words like that you don't necessarily know? So pause me while you answer that question. All right, so hopefully you have a lot of different ways to deal with it. You can always, if it has, like in this text, you can click on the words and it'll give you definitions of some of them, but sometimes that's not the case, right? Sometimes it doesn't have a way to click on it to see what it is. So for example, if you didn't know what the word geometrical meant, what could you do? So first of all, you could use context clues. Diatoms, I read, come in a variety of transparent geometrical shapes. So I'm guessing geometrical describes how the shapes are. So it's a descriptive word having to do with shapes. It might be something like that. If you can't figure it out using context clues, you can always look it up. When you're not in an assessment situation, I always recommend looking up what words mean, because then you might know it next time it comes up. But try first to figure it out with context clues. So I know geometrical has to do with shapes. So geometrical meaning. Geometric means relating to geometry. That's not super helpful. But this characterized by or decorated with regular lines and shapes. So we said it had to do with shapes. We were right on track. Awesome. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead and read this text. It's not super long, and it's just an excerpt, which means part of a book called An American Childhood. Go ahead and do a contiguous first read. You're going to read straight through. Make sure you're thinking about what those words mean. And I want you to consider what the central idea of the text is. Pause me while you do that work. Okay, so you're doing a contiguous first read. Oh my goodness. And identifying the central idea. And then this text, it's interesting because the central idea is really similar to a theme, because even though it's nonfiction, it is a narrative nonfiction. It's a story. It's not an article. It's just a true story, which makes it nonfiction. So the central idea then kind of relates to that. It's a theme just as much as it is a central idea. So what lesson did I learn when I read this text? I noticed that she had this really intense passion, and she realized that her parents didn't have it. So I think maybe a theme is that a person should pursue their unique passions, even if others find them mundane, which means boring. I just wanted to use that fancy word. So what we're going to do is we're going to find some pieces of evidence that support this idea that a person should pursue their unique passions, even if others find them mundane or boring. So the first thing I was thinking is at the beginning when she says, although usually I had to save my tiny allowance for things I wanted, that year for Christmas, my parents gave me a microscope kit. I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Okay, so how does this support the central idea? So her parents allowed her to spend her own money on things she was interested in, but rarely spent their own money on it because it wasn't their passion. She pursued her interests anyways, right? In this case, her parents did support it. They supported it more than they normally did. So I think it's interesting that even though she had to spend her own money, she talks about how she usually would save her allowance for that. Okay, the next quote that I thought was really important was when she found the amoeba and she was so excited. Let's see if I can find it on here. So when she says, this is when she finds it, and then she said, I told them bursting, and then it was a chance of a lifetime. And then her mom responds, she and father were happy to sit with their coffee and would not be coming down. I think that quote altogether is really interesting. So I told them bursting, it was the chance of a lifetime. She and father were happy to sit with their coffee and would not be coming down. All right, I want you guys to take some time to explain how that supports the central idea. Pause me while you do it, and then I'm going to share my thought process. Okay, so I thought this part was interesting because this was the main character's first situation in which she realized that her parents did not have the same interests as her. She was so excited to tell them, and they were just like, This did not keep her from pursuing the interest. Rather, she saw it as a chance to go after what she loved. So we know after this that she continued to play with the microscope. So I thought this was a great example of someone pursuing their interests despite finding out that maybe other people didn't love it as much as her. And then her reaction, I think, is really important. I think I would like you guys to find a quote somewhere in paragraph 13 to 14 area, maybe 12 to 14. Pick a quote that you think supports the central idea and explain how you think that supports the central idea. And that's going to be your exit ticket for the day. So then you will be done with my lesson. Have a wonderful rest of your day.